The Time Police, the enforcers of the Temporal Prime Directive in a world of time travel. Is time travel real, and are there time police watching us now? Even though we haven't yet developed the technology to make it possible, the idea of time travel has long been a popular one in science fiction. If it is possible, the idea raises serious ethical concerns about the potential repercussions of messing with the past. As a result, the idea of a temporal prime directive has come to light as a suggested remedy for any issues that might result from the usage of time travel. If time travel technology were ever developed, it might be made available at any period, possibly even in the present. This is due to the fact that time travel by definition would enable people to visit any location in the past or future. For instance, if time travel technology were to be created in the year 2100, it would allow people to go back in time to any period in history, including the present. Additionally, if someone used time travel technology to go back in time, they could take it with them and possibly make it available to people in the present. Among other possibilities, a time traveler in the past might leave the technology behind or sell it to a person in the present who could use it themselves. A set of guidelines known as the Temporal Prime Directive would control time travelers' behavior to prevent them from changing the course of history or having unforeseen effects in the future. The plan is to stop time travelers from changing the past directly or making big changes to the timeline. The idea of a Temporal Prime Directive is a concept that came from the Star Trek universe. It is a rule that time travelers can't change the way things happen in the past. It is similar to the Prime Directive, which prohibits interference with the development of other civilizations. Since what they did in the past could have big effects on the future, time travelers would need a Prime Directive for the future. Consider a time traveler who goes back in time to stop the murder of a famous person from history. Even while it could seem like a good objective, there might be unexpected repercussions that the time traveler was unable to predict. It's possible that if the historical figure had lived, they would have done more harm than good, or that their death was part of a bigger pattern in history that the time traveler didn't understand. The results could be disastrous if there was no control over time travel. Imagine that a time traveler went back in time and killed a famous person like George Washington or Abraham Lincoln. Such a deed might have long-lasting effects that would change the course of history in ways we can only speculate about. Uncontrolled time travel could also lead to a butterfly effect situation, in which even a small change in the past could have big effects on the future. For example, a time traveler who only sends a message to their past selves could change the course of history in ways they could not have predicted. An example of a temporal prime directive would be as follows. Never reveal who you are or where you came from to anyone, in the past or in the future. Keep your distance from anything or everyone that is important to history or your personal timeline. Don't steal anything from another time period or leave anything behind. Don't make an effort to fix or right any errors or injustices that you come across in a different time period. It's feasible that there would be a specific arm of law enforcement known as the Time Police to implement the Temporal Prime Directive. The task of the Time Police would be to keep an eye on time travelers and enforce the rules outlined in the Temporal Prime Directive, so that they could catch anyone who was breaking the rules and stop them from hurting the timeline. They would need to be well trained and have the latest technology. The Time Police might have trouble with, among other things, finding people to join, running the government, paying for things, and figuring out who is in charge of what. The recruiting of new members would be one of the Time Police's main problems. The best candidates for the position would be well versed in the complexities of time travel as well as the potential repercussions of changing the timeline. They would also need to be capable of making split-second decisions under duress and fast adapting to novel circumstances. In order to have the best crew possible, the Time Police would need to make large investments in recruitment and training programs. Locating such people would probably be a significant task. Finding a location for their headquarters would be another problem the Time Police would have to deal with. Since time travel enables travel to any location in the past or future, it is conceivable that the headquarters of the Time Police may be located at any time. But, they would have to pick a place that is safe and defendable against any threats, as well as being reachable by time travelers from all points in history. The Time Police would likewise have a serious problem with funding. The agency would need a lot of money to do its job well, since building and maintaining time travel technology is likely to be very expensive. Governments or private organizations might support the Time Police financially, but in order to maintain its long-term sustainability, they would need to make sure that their funding is dependable and regular. Finally, it would also be necessary to handle the jurisdictional question. As time travel might enable people to visit any period in history, it's likely that the decisions made by time travelers could have an impact beyond international boundaries and on many cultures and societies. The time police would have to figure out how to deal with these problems and make sure they have the power to uphold the Temporal Prime Directive throughout all of history. Science fiction literature has examples of time police models. For example, in the Time Police series by Jodie Taylor, they are a branch of an organization called the Time Police Authority that was founded by a mysterious benefactor who invented time travel. They wear black uniforms and have advanced weapons and gadgets. They have a strict hierarchy and code of conduct, and they answer to a council of representatives from different countries. In the Arrowverse series, the Time Police are a group of skilled people who are based in the 31st century to catch criminals who use time travel to do bad things. After the creation and commercialization of time travel, an interplanetary agreement known as the Temporal Accords was created that forbids using the technology to alter the course of history. By the 29th century, it was in effect. The agreement established guidelines and criteria for how to time travel without affecting the timeline and only allowed it for scientific purposes. If you believe you are a good candidate for the time police, leave a message in the comment section of this video. You never know who may be watching and recruiting. It may be your only chance to get their attention. Most people do not make it to the end of this video, and you have already demonstrated sufficient interest by continuing to watch. In the end, it's important to think about the idea of a temporal prime directive when talking about the possibility of time travel. The time police would have to keep an eye on these rules to make sure that time travelers don't change the past or future in ways they didn't mean to. Before we try to build the technology to travel through time, we need to think about these possible problems. Without rules, the effects of time travel could be terrible. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to Connect Paranormal. This will allow us to make more videos. Thanks for watching.